Super cyclone Biparjoy is likely to make a landfall between 9 p.m. and midnight tonight and is expected near Gujarat Jakhau port. According to the IMD, between now and this evening, gale winds blowing at 115 to 125 kilometers per hour, gusting to 135 kilometers per hour are likely to impact Gujarat's Port.Over, Devbhoomi Dwarka, Kutch, Jamnagar, Rajkot, I beg your pardon, Junagadh and Morbi districts. However, unlike a decade or more earlier, India is now well prepared to handle super cyclones, and let me now share most of it as follows. Nearly 70,000 people have been moved to shelter homes. Police, medical teams, food and drinking arrangements have been made at all these shelter homes. 18 teams of NDRF and 12 teams of SDRF have been deployed across Gujarat and the maximum team in Kutch. Pregnant women have been identified and shifted to hospitals. Reserve NDRF teams at 15 more places have been deployed across the state to minimize the loss of life and property. Ships are ready at various places including Okha and Mundra. 4 Dornier aircrafts and 1 ALH are stationed in Gujarat, and Chetak helicopters as well as 1 ALH are on standby at Daman. So basically, yes, it's a super cyclone, but it is not our intent, of course, to create any kind of panic. We shall give you what is the latest on Biparjoy and how several teams across are trying their level best to mitigate the damage. Nivedita, you've been updating us since morning about what is going on. I mean, what is the latest on Biparjoy? I mean, what is the situation? Has the situation changed or it's static as it was half an hour ago? Any changes that you see?
As the cyclone nears the land, so IMD starts issuing hourly bulletin.
Okay.
So the latest IMD bulletin is in front of me and it has shown there has been quite a good quantum of rainfall at several places. Porbandar had 17 mm rainfall, Nalia had 17, Bhuj, Kandla, all these places had rainfall. Then the wind speed is like really strong. That is, of course, the cyclone USP, if we can say. And it has given us, when again it's a slight repetition, but it's a reiteration of when the landfall will happen, and wind during the landfall would be 115 to 125.
Yeah, I want to come to you that, because remember before the show started, Nivedita, we were listening to the wind, that hum,
yes.
It's so scary. Now when you say there have been rains, it's not as if it's drought and there are rains. What I have a question is, with wind at 115 to 25 kilometers per hour, plus barish bhi agar ho jaye, that's a kind of scary. I don't want to create panic, but just for the benefit, look at those visuals. I do not know if I can, I'll keep quiet. Yeah, these are live shots that we are getting. I'm going to keep quiet, just listen to the sound. I come back to Nivedita then. So there it is, the sound of it. So Nivedita, I want you to tell the viewers about what really that means. I mean, the combination of rain, which you said, and these shots were from Kutch, the latest one, and with winds which are like a gale, which is gale. What does that mean?
3 things together, storm surge, rains, flooding due to rains, and also at the low-lying areas near the coast, the storm surge adds to it, and then the strong winds. The winds are so strong that, say for instance, some dilapidated building can fall down. The electric poles, if they are there, they are uprooted. Hundreds, like last 2 years ago, there was this cyclone Taukte, which had similarly raged along this Gujarat western coast, and 3.5 million trees from the Gir forest were uprooted. I mean, it's that strong. Imagine those are very old trees and all of them were uprooted. So all this combination especially dangerous for the low-lying areas along the coast, and that's why we have seen there's so much of evacuation that is happening.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is scary, but then care has
we are
been
ready,
taken.
Nivedita, in the sense that, Dr. Ramesh, in the office, this is the topic today. Everyone was asking me, are you sure the landfall will happen at midnight? Is it that it can? So I want you to explain to all those who are watching this show, because everyone is not an expert. When you say cyclone or tufan, the first thing you imagine is, great destruction. So for the benefit of the audiences, Dr. Ramesh, what is the timing, I mean approximate, not to the dot, of the landfall, and what does it really mean, Dr. Ramesh?
See, landfall is a process. It is not a instant phenomena. So whole cyclone has a radius of about 250 kilometers. Perimeter, if you take 500 kilometer, so that 400 to 500 kilometer, like circular
System.
blob moving in an anti-clockwise direction with strong winds and rain, it will move about 10 kilometers, 6 to 8 kilometers per hour sort of speed. See, outer rain bands of the cyclone are already on the coast. That's how the latest report suggested that rainfall started happening. Porbandar, north of Porbandar, Dwarka, even parts of Rajkot, some rain was there, Jamnagar, Bhuj, and Nalia and Jakhau. Rainfall is already seen for last 3-4 hours. But rainfall intensity will pick up as the cyclone will come closer. And this particular cyclone, since it is moving from coast to inland in a northeasterly direction, so most of the rainfall will follow the system along with the landfall. Behind the landfall, past landfall, a lot of rainfall will be there. So this is another peculiar pattern of this particular cyclone. So it is not that the cyclone has crossed. Wind definitely will decrease from 115 at the time of landfall. Already 60 to 70 kilometer per hour wind speed is already recorded along the coastline of Kutch. So that strong wind is already there. Strong wave action, which has been seen last 2 days all along the west coast, and highest wave action in the Kutch area and Porbandar area and Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Kambat. So these low-lying areas, that's the reason why evacuation has happened in a bigger way in the coastal villages, particularly where fishermen hamlets are there. And the good point is, see, compared to Tokte, earlier cyclone, where it has passed through Varaval and other areas, this is going in a low dense population area. North of Kutch is a Ran of Kutch. So we don't accept Bhuj and other north of it, we don't have much habitation. So that is the best part of
that's very heartening to know. I mean, thank God. You mean, there are some kind of, mitigating factors which are also natural. Professor Sharma, my colleague Nivedita was talking about, unlike earlier cyclones, even Dr. Ramesh was talking about, unlike what happened earlier. I think, considering you're from SDMA, I want to ask you that the readiness, as it were, of India so far as to face cyclones has really become something which is far, far better than the kind of destruction and loss of lives we would see in the past. Would you agree that this becomes the task of controlling the typhoon or the cyclone much simpler?
Actually, ma'am, from every disaster we learn a lot. And in cyclone, I think India is having lots of capability. And my very good friend, Dr. Ramesh, who was Director General, you can see the capability of the IMD. Their prediction, they are fully equipped today. And the direction, the wind velocity, each and everything, which is given by the IMD, this is almost 100% correct. I will mention one more thing here. As far as landfall is concerned, cyclone we have seen, many times the cyclone will come and we feel that the landfall will be there. And at the time of landfall, it takes U-turn. So you never know. It can change the direction. And I fully agree that we are fully prepared. Today, India is having all, you can see that 30 teams of NDRF and SDRF are there. Not only this, there are Apda Mitra for the first time, because Honorable Home Minister, he requested to train 1 lakh volunteers in the country. And you will not believe that this time it's a test that in case the volunteers are also there, then it is more effective mechanism. You can see that there is no person, on the road or anywhere.
Right.
Otherwise, in Visakhapatnam and other cyclone, we have seen that the people, because Apda Mitra, they are people from the community.
Dr. Tyagi, I just want to ask you that, all reports that you read, and we've been, covering a lot of cyclones in the recent past, but this seems to be very persistent. It's been described as very, very persistent, So I want you to explain, Dr. Tyagi, that, why is the word persistent? Persistent is something which doesn't give up, which is kind of adamant, which is kind of stubborn. So can you, for the benefit of the audiences, just explain what is the persistent aspect or layering of this particular cyclone, sir, Biparjoy?
Yeah. See, Dr. Ramesh has already given you details about the cyclones. And as you have asked, the persistent in this case, what we can attribute this is that its life period has been pretty long. From 6th June it started, it continued to move northwards, intensified into a extremely severe cyclonic storm, and it maintains its intensity as a very severe cyclonic storm and is weakening, as Dr. Ramesh has brought out. So this happened during the phase when the onset of monsoon takes place, and so it has affected adversely the advance of monsoon. So that has been one feature of this. But what the Arabian Sea has the favorable conditions, the weak wind shear, which is favorable, and the high surface temperatures. So they maintain its intensity all through. See, earlier also we had in 2011 Tokte storm, which also had a long history along the west coast. Luckily, this cyclone was little away from the coastal area, so didn't adversely affect the states.
Right.
And in the last case, it was right from Kerala onwards till the Gujarat. All coastal states were affected by the cyclone. So in this case, as brought out, cyclone is weakening, but then it continues to be, a severe category during next 6 to 12 hours.
All
and
right.
we need
Okay.
to
Yeah.